Hi, welcome to Sahadhyayana. In today's video, we are going to see how to start with Scilab. So this video is targeting only the beginners in Scilab. Scilab is a numerical computational software that anybody can freely download. So basically it means it is an open source software. So the main purpose of this video is to guide you step by step in exploring various basic features which Scilab have, and whoever can use it if you want to use a numerical computational software. And this presentation will be limited to essentials which will allow you to easily handle Scilab. In this video, I will not be explaining you how to install this computational software. However, I'll provide you step by step installation guide in the description. So please go through that details before installing Scilab if you are pretty new to any computational software. Once you finished your installation, and after double clicking the icon to launch Scilab, the Scilab environment by default consists of these many docked windows. So I have just installed it and my version is 5.5.2. Newer versions are available now. So any version you can work upon, doesn't matter. The basic features remains same. So what I was trying to convey is when you launch this software or tool, by default it consists of these many docked windows. So you'll have a console. So this is known as a console. Then you have files. So these are the files as you can see here. And then you have a variable browser. So this is known as variable browser. And then command history. So command history will give you what are the commands you have given, while programming in the console. So the console, so we will be mainly working with the console. The console is mainly used for making calculations. We will not be writing any program in console. We will discuss that later. Why we are not using console for writing programs. So basically console is used for making simple calculations. It's very straightforward. You have to just type a command and press enter key. I'm talking about Windows or Linux. If you are using a Mac OS, then you have to press a return key. So my entire tutorial on Scilab will be by concentrating on Windows. If you are using Mac OS or any other operating system, you please try to find out the alternate for each command. The programming command remains same, but the commands required for or shortcut keys or commands required for executions and other things will vary from one system to other. Telling that, let us see a simple example. What will happen? See, I simply type 40 by 4. So what is the expected answer? 10. So I am getting it. Now you can see here in the variable browser, there was nothing here, it was blank here, and once I did this 40 by 4 calculation, now a new variable is created named ANS. ANS was created for answer because I have not assigned this 40 by 4 to any variable. So if I assign something like this, if I write A equals 40 by 4, then that particular value will be assigned to a new variable A. You can see that in variable browser. And in command history, you can see that, see, whatever I have typed has come here. So this will help you, command history will help you. If you want to go back to some commands, you can copy from here and paste there in the console. That is possible. Okay. Now let us do some computations. Okay, like 2 plus 9 power 3. Okay, let us check what is the answer. Is this correct? 2 plus 9 is 11. 11 power 3 is 1331. Yes. So for any such simple calculations where we use calculator, if you have your Scilab open, installed in your system with the console open, you can perform almost all computations which your scientific calculator do here. That's interesting. One more point which you should remember here, when you do calculations, you can use your keyboard arrow keys, okay, or your mouse. So if you use the down key, you can get the previous commands. Okay, sorry, up. If you use your up key, you can get the previous commands which you have typed. You can see here, see, I am pressing the up key for the previous command. One more time if I press, I'll get the previous to previous command. Now if I want to come to 2 plus 9 power 3, then I have to press the down arrow. So you can simply use the up down arrow keys in your keyboard to go through the various commands which you have used in the console to compute some values. That's also interesting. Yeah, now okay, I don't want these values. Okay, I just want to know what is 40 by 4. I just want to calculate 2 plus 9 power 3. All I have done, and I just want to clean this console. So if I want to clean this console, what I give is the command used for cleaning the screen is CLC. See, the entire console as cleaned. Now, one more point which I would like to tell you here is, you will see the variable browser now. I have done 3 computations, right? One was 40 by 4, then I have assigned A equal to 40 by 4, then I did 2 plus 9 power 3. But in variable browser, once I did CLC, can you see there is only one variable present here? So what does it tells you? If you need to store the values which you have done, then you have to assign it to some variable. Otherwise, when you clean your screen, okay, those values will not be stored. So the ANS is a temporary variable assigned by Scilab itself to store the answer if you forget to give any variable, if you forget to declare any variable. So always keep this in your mind. So the next key point which you should remember while using Scilab is case sensitive. What does it mean? It is necessary to respect uppercase and lowercase for calculations to be performed properly. I can give a good example. Okay, if you want to find the square root of a number, the Scilab has a built-in command for finding square root, that is sqrt. So I will just find what is square root of 16 maybe. Okay, I'll just type this, press enter. Answer is 4. But by mistake, if I write sqrt in capital, okay, in uppercase, then try find the square root. I have just pressed an enter. Oh, I got an error. It says undefined variable square root. So this directly tells you that Scilab is very case sensitive. You need to respect uppercase as well as lowercase. You have to be very, very careful when you start programming using Scilab. Okay, now particular numbers. Scilab allows usage of particular numbers directly in the console. What does it mean? There is pi, exponential values, all these are defined within Scilab. So the style of writing it is, the way of writing it is, you have to write percentage pi. If you write percentage pi, oh, error. Why was that? Yeah, exactly. I have to respect cases. So it was in uppercase. No, it should have been in lowercase. So pi, okay, percentage pi. Yeah, I'm getting pi value. Okay, to some 7 decimal places. It's fine for me. Now e. If I give percentage e, okay, I'm getting the value. Similarly, you can use percentage I for representing a complex number also. Okay, now one more thing. If you are assigning these computations to some variable, let me explain it with some example, like b equal to one plus maybe square root of some value, square root of 6, okay, 1 plus square root of 6 multiplied by 2, something like this. Then if you press enter, see, you are going to get the answer directly. But if you don't like to display this answer, then what you can do is we can put a semicolon. So I'll use now up arrow. So I need not type this b equal to 1 plus square root of 6 into 2 again. You can either copy like this, okay, you can copy like this and paste it here, or better way, as I told you already, is use the upper key. The previous command appears here directly, and put a semicolon, then press enter. Now you will not get answer explicitly. Now as you can see here, I have defined a new variable b, and in variable browser I have that variable b and what is the value, corresponding value, and it is also giving me data type and visibility. Visibility is, it's a local variable. Okay, but I need to know what is the answer. So what should I give now? Yeah, just give b and press enter. I'll get the answer. So if you are using your console to do step-by-step mathematical computation and you don't want to display the answer after each step, you can use a semicolon. A simple example for that is a is 6 plus 3, okay, b is 2 plus 3, and c is a plus b. This is what I need to do. But c equal to a plus b, I should know the answer. I am not worried about what is a and b. In such cases, we will use this semicolon. Now if I press enter, I will get the answer for c. So it will display only c. Yeah, this is nice. But remember, we will not be using this console every time to write the program. Okay, before getting to that, it is necessary to know name of some functions, or it's always necessary to remember name of a function in Scilab. So name of commonly used functions will come to your mind immediately once you start practicing Scilab, no doubt. But for people like me who doesn't like to remember things, all these available functions in Scilab are listed, okay, in embedded way in Scilab help. So here on the menu bar, okay, on the menu bar. After applications, you have a question mark here. This is Scilab help, or here you have another question mark. So you can either click here. If you click here, it will ask, okay, go to Scilab help. Short key is F1, or you can directly click here. Okay, a Scilab help will open separately, okay, in a new window. So this is your help browser. You can have a help browser for Scilab, and you can go to this search and start searching anything what you feel. If Scilab has something meaningful to your search, it will show you what it has. Let us try. I just want to know whether there is something known as factorial in Scilab. Yeah, because factorial is very common. So let us see whether Scilab has something to offer me on factorial. Yeah, yes, nice. So see here, factorial is a function in Scilab. Nice. So it has a function in Scilab, and it's saying that this is a calling sequence of that function. So if you want to find factorial of any number n, you have to give it as factorial of n, factorial of 5, factorial of 6, that way. And it's explaining, see, n is a double data type, okay, it can be a matrix, and it should contain positive integer, it cannot have negative integer, okay, all that. So you can go through this. There is a description, there's examples given. So every time if you feel, okay, anything weird, you go to Scilab help, come there, okay, follow the procedure, click the search icon and type whatever you feel. Scilab will tell you whether is it duty of Scilab or you are searching something which Scilab cannot answer. Then Scilab will say, no, I don't have this. You can go to Google and search it. Nice. Okay, so this is just to make you, okay, get a feel of Scilab help. Help browser is very nice. So if you are bored about like my video, you know, doesn't like to listen to my video, then you can go to help browser and get the things done. But I suggest you to watch the video till the end and subscribe the page also, so that you will get more interesting videos. Yeah, but I'm going to tell you something different. That's why I ask you to watch the video till end. It's not nice, right? Every time going to help finding. Okay, so I have a trick for you for finding all the embedded Scilab functions, okay, in a go in the console. So you can use tab key on the keyboard, okay, to complete the name of a function or a variable, okay, just by giving its first few letters, 1 or 2 letters. What I mean is, just now we have seen factorial, right? So you type FAC or FACT maybe and press tab button. Nice. So it tells that, see, in the name of FACT, you have factor, you have factorial, and you have factors. So Scilab macro means it's a function. So you have 3 functions in Scilab which starts with the word fact. Okay, now I'll try EX. Okay, I'll type EX. What I have to do? I have to just type what I need to search and press tab. Okay, starting with EX, I have an example underscore run. Okay, that is an example program. Then I have Scilab function xec. Okay, these many functions. There is one command. Okay, command is for exit. If I type exit, then it will close this console. Okay, then I have exp. What is exp? Exponential maybe. Okay, now if I want to select one of these functions, okay, yeah, I was searching for this exp. I was not very familiar whether it was exponientall or expe. So I just tried ex and it is telling me that it is exp. So I feel that this should be exponential. Okay, let me check. So exp I have here. Just click on this. Okay, that will be selected. Okay, now let me check whether this is what I need, whether I intend to have the same, okay, function exponential. So I just try with some exponential of 10. Does it work? Press enter. Yeah. This could be correct. Exponential of 10. I think so. Okay, you can just double click on that function. Okay, I'll go again. Fact. What I should do? Type fact. Then put tab. Okay, then come to this. I need factorial. Double click on that. Okay, so I get factorial. Now let me find factorial of 10. Maybe. Okay, press enter. Okay, these are the values. I have exponential of 10. I have factorial of 10. If you believe me, if you believe console, no need to verify. But since you are a beginner, it's always nice to make your mind, okay, feel that Scilab is perfect. So use a calculator and try the same values and make sure that both the values are same. So that later when you do work with Scilab, you will have full trust on Scilab. You should not doubt the Scilab later. Okay, so do it right away. Take a calculator, verify the values. Happy? You are getting the same values? Yes. So, I'll just summarize what we have seen in this video. So, when you just switch on the Scilab, means when you launch Scilab, you will have these docked windows. Okay, they are kept together, these windows. This is the default way of appearance of Scilab. And you can use the Scilab console for doing all mathematical computations. And there are some defined functions in MATLAB. We have discussed about variables. If you didn't give variable, okay, it will be temporarily stored. If you give variable, that values will be always stored. Okay, unless you clear variables. We didn't talk about clearing variables. We'll talk about that later. We have just talked about clearing the screen, that is clearing the console, that is by using CLC. So every time you can use that. So just now I'm going to use it, CLC, enter. Okay, console is cleared. And you can see the variable browser, only the variables which I have defined stays back. All the variables assigned by Scilab by itself has vanished now. You have a command history here. Okay, if you want to check what commands we have used, you can use this. This is all fine. Okay, now we need to talk more about menu bar. Okay, what is this file, edit, whether we are going to write program in console. As I told you earlier, we will not be using console for writing programs. In my next video, I will explain you the reason. Then we'll go to editor and start writing program. And we'll also talk a little about file browser. Okay, why this is important also. So thank you for watching. As a beginner, if you are happy to know something on this computational software, please like this video, leave some feedback as a comment and subscribe. Bye.